My INFP friend, she is so she finds God in ritual. She loves it. She is very Catholic, and she'll go and she'll say the same prayers and she'll find God in there. But then for me, it's like I find God in the new. Like I don't get things out of most sermons, but when I listen to J.K. Chesterton, it's very any, it's very new, it's very exhilarating. And I think what typology can benefit the church especially um, is emphasizing the natural and the soul and in diagnostics. I think psychology, there's a lot of counteracting when I bring up MBTI because they're like, you just need the Bible, you just need all these things. But I'm like, this brings a diagnostic to a degree, and I think Christians can take typology and say, is this really God, or is this really just me?
ENFPs, like a specialty they have is noticing the mainstream way of thinking about a certain thing and then realizing all of the holes through like their extroverted intuition can poke all of like, okay, that part, that part, that part. I need to understand it further or it needs to make more sense. So it's not just like introverted thinking that likes to make things make sense. Like dominant extroverted intuition has this urge and curiosity to learn more, and oftentimes like these big questions aren't answered, and so um, enfps will follow these really niche speakers. Like they'll go search in the rabbit hole of okay, Christian speakers, and find one that offers this new way of putting it, which answers the questions that you've been looking to get answered.
When you look into type, then you'll be able to find out why, oh, yes, me and my wife, we are both created in God's image and our identity is found in Christ. However, she is an ISFP. I'm an ENFJ. Even though we're both trying to become like Christ, there's a reason why I have this ability to be able to understand the interpersonal on a highly nuanced level and be able to interact in that way. Whereas, like for her, she doesn't really have as much of that skill, but she has a similar skill in being able to understand her motivations, her values, and her morality and emotions in a very highly nuanced level that I definitely cannot do. And so when we come together and we really work on those skills, we really work on those superpowers that God has given us, and then we use those skills to be able to help better the world that God has put us in, I don't think that God is mad about that. So if I'm coaching someone and helping them, like, hey, you're trying to get to point D, that's great, but you're trying to do it like an ENTJ. You're actually an ESFP. You can keep on trying to do it in a very strong TE way. That's fine. You'll eventually get there, maybe in like 20 years. Or I can show you how to do it from an SEFI way, where you'll get the same exact results, but in a more natural way, in the way that God created you. And if you don't understand how God created you and the personality that you have, then I think that that's where you're going to run into a lot of trouble because you're either going to become something that you're not and then lose a lot of the gifts that God has given you, or you're going to try to get other people to become something that they're not and then squander and not even appreciate the gifts that they have.
Yeah, I think MBTI is very compatible with Christianity. If you look at the book Gifts Differing by Isabel Briggs Meyer, there's a passage that the book is inspired by from Romans 12:6, and it's then having gifts differing from the grace that God has given us. And so, what the 16 types helps us realize is the divine design or the divine gifts that each person has. And it gives you a framework to put them a little more clearly. So it gives you a clearer mirror to your divine design that God intended you to know more about. And so it's a little bit of a life hack. Everything is to emphasize God's beauty and his workmanship over you.